Well, hello everyone, and welcome to Denmark. Here we are, just getting ready to load up the bus at the airport. And are you all excited, Betty?
I'm ready. I'm always ready, though. It'll be fun, I know.
Yeah, we're going to go now into from the airport into Copenhagen. And boy, look at the construction. Isn't this something?
I see a big difference from when I was here about 20 years ago with my husband.
Well, there would
and
be a
you
difference
know,
in
of course,
20 years.
20 years in everything.
Right.
My name is Lars, and we are going to take you into Copenhagen to the Scandic Hotel, which is actually the formerly Sheraton Hotel, but they changed ownership just a few months ago. And it won't take very long because we are only 6 miles from the center. So in about 15 minutes or so, then we will be at your hotel, your Danish home. I'm going to give you some practical information, useful information on the way to town. First of all, you might already notice that there's a lot of construction work going on around here, and also soon there will be more construction work over to the left. That is because, first of all, Copenhagen Airport is going to be extended with some a new arrival hall, and then they're also building constructing a new metro station. One of the subways up from Copenhagen is going to be extended out to the airport. But the first reason why there's so much mess around this airport is because we are now just about to link Denmark with Sweden. We are going to build a combination of a tunnel and a bridge over to southern part of Sweden. It's going to be 10 miles long, and it will be ready about the year 2000. When we passed under this concrete bridge, then you can look to the left and you can see part of the new motor highway, and there's also going to be a railway line down here. And it's the biggest construction work in Europe right now. And then it's going to go down here in a tunnel just next to where we are right now. And then they have built an artificial island in the middle of the sound, the water you can see to the right. And then so it will be a system of a tunnel, a low bridge, an elevated bridge, and another low bridge near Sweden, and altogether from coast to coast 10 miles long. Then the Danes are also right now constructing another bridge from the island of Zealand, that's where a major part of Copenhagen is situated, over to another island called Funen, and that is also 10 miles long, and that will be ready sometimes next year. So after the year 2000, one will be able to travel all the way from the North Pole, no, not from the North Pole, but from the North Cape down to the toe of Italy, so without having to take any ferries any longer. So we're taking the coast road into Copenhagen. Right now it's a suburb called Kastrup, but in a mile or two we are within the Copenhagen city. Today is Friday, and you can still make some shopping in Copenhagen if you aren't too tired after the traveling. The shops here and the department stores are on Fridays open until 7 p.m. and I think that the department store might stay open till 8 o'clock, but better depend on just 7 o'clock. Banks are closed now, and they are also closed tomorrow, Saturday and Sunday, but there are several places, offices in your neighborhood of your hotel where you can change money. Your hotel is not very far from the central railway station, and in there you'll find different kinds of shops and also a couple of banks where you can change. The rate of exchange for $1 is a little over 6 Danish kroner, and that means when you look at price tags or prices, then you divide by 6, and that is the way to convert into American dollars. if you go shopping in Copenhagen, it is possible to go and buy what you call tax-free shopping, because there is 25% purchase tax on everything. And it means that you will have to buy for 300 Danish kroner, which is equivalent to $50 in one shop. It doesn't necessarily have to be one big item or one item. It can be several items in the same shop or in the same department store, but it must amount to 300 kroner and about 300 kroner. Otherwise you won't be able to get your purchase tax back. And you can get the Danish purchase tax back in any EU, European Union country. The last European Union country you leave, that is where you can get the purchase tax back. But you can also, of course, get it back when you leave Denmark, or when you leave, I don't know where you're going. You're going around in Scandinavia? Going to Norway?
Yes.
Yes? To Sweden?
Yes.
To Finland?
No.
No. Just in Norway and Sweden. Yeah. So because then if Sweden is the last country you're leaving, that is a member of EU. That's where you can have purchase tax from Denmark back to. But up in Norway, they're not member of the EU. So there you have to get the taxes back before you leave Norway for Sweden, or if it's the other way around. See the little beach here, there have been quite a lot of people swimming here today. The temperature of the water is around 22 centigrade, and now you have to get used to the centigrade system or Celsius system. And there's a quick way to convert into Fahrenheit. You always double up and add 32. So if it's 22 now, the water, double up, that's 44, and then you add 32. So that means it's about 75, 76, something like that, about 75 approximately. I have done a sightseeing tour this morning, and I was home and I just made a little dip into water, and it was very refreshing, very lovely.
We might point out that we're coming up here to what we see, the little garden houses right here. And in Northern Europe, you see a lot of this, just a few miles outside of the city. You can drive out to your little weekend house, and a lot of people raise flowers, and some raise vegetables there. Yeah. And they go out there for a little holiday on the weekend, and it's really quite nice. And
they're not very elaborate, I would say.
No, they don't have to be.
No.
Some people, of course, would probably make them elaborate, but no, they're just pretty utilitarian, you know. But anyway, the little garden houses there, and you see that all throughout Northern Europe. And we saw a little bit of that, I think, when we went to Russia. They had a different name for it.
You got a better memory than I do.
Well, I like gardens, so maybe that's the reason.
Maybe that's why.
Hey, we're coming closer now. We're going to see the skyline of the city in just a moment.
It's possible to see the skyline of Copenhagen over to the right. You might be able to see a green dome that is near the Marble Church, or it is the Marble Church near the royal residence at Marienborg Palace Square. And the football ground or soccer ground you can see into the right, it was once Copenhagen Airport up till 1928. Copenhagen is the capital of Denmark, and it has 1.5 million inhabitants. In Denmark there are a little over 5 million. Greenland, the biggest island in the world, belongs to Denmark, and so do the Faroe Islands, small group of islands northwest of Scotland. We are right now on an island called Amager, and we will soon have to cross over a bridge, and then we come over to the island of Zealand, where a major part of Copenhagen is situated. In Denmark there are actually many islands. There are 406 islands, but only 100 of them are inhabited.
I didn't realize, Betty, that Denmark was made up of so many islands. Did you?
I didn't know Copenhagen was an island. Now that's how knowledgeable I am. I got to start doing some geography work.
Well, that's why we travel, so that we can learn.
You'll see a tower with a gilded stairway outside. This is the tower of the old Christian's Harbor, where Christ is standing on the gilded globe. The bridge, it's called Langebro, the long bridge, and we take a look over to the left and see the red building. That's a very fine museum called the Carlsberg Glyptotek. It's in there you'll find a fantastic collection of French art, French Impressionist paintings, Danish art, and also the old Tivoli Garden. Other museums you can visit in Copenhagen, those mechanical toys and other ordinary toys and dolls and so on. It's also downtown here, and you get a map when you come to the hotel. You can just ask for it at the concierge, your maps. Copenhagen is a small city, and everything is within walking distance, I find. It's the Copenhagen City Hall here on the right side, and the statue of Hans Christian Andersen to the right, and one of the entrances to Tivoli Garden to the left.
Well, she's right there. We take a look over, and we just saw it. It went by real fast, but we're going to do almost the whole program on the Tivoli Gardens. That's one of the things, that everybody, when you come to the city, that you want to see, and especially at nighttime. Betty, isn't it beautiful at night?
It is really. It's all lit up. And now I'm getting interested again now, because this is the part of traveling that I like. I love the excitement of the people. I like the traffic. Can you believe that? I really like the traffic. I like, yeah.
Well, it's still pretty early in the morning here on this particular day, so we didn't have a lot of traffic right now. But
there isn't
just wait.
Oh, I
know.
Just
wait. The bicycles will be out, right?
I know it's coming, but I kind of like the activity, the movement. That to me, that's part of the excitement of a city.
This area right over here to our right, and we're just about a block away from our hotel. But we're going to take a look at the left first, because we want to see, there's the entrance to the Tivoli Garden down there, which we will visit a little bit later on. But over here again on our right, there's a big theater complex, both legitimate theater and also movie houses here. And at nighttime, boy, these plazas are just really absolutely filled with all sorts of people, and it is very exciting.
So you can see you are close to everything here.
We were, and as she explained before, Copenhagen is only 1 million people, and so a lot of things, especially where the hotels were located, was just within, just a few blocks as far as walking distance was concerned.
Well, that's what I like. I always try to stipulate that wherever they put us in the center so we can get out and do what we want to do. Mm-hmm. For those that want to, they can get out and move around, and those that want to take a rest, it's there for them also.
Boy, and we sure did, because we were able to go ahead and walk. No, rest. No, we had enough rest on the airplane. That was all right. No, that's the first thing you want to do is, get unpacked and get out there and hit the road.
Breathe the air.
Yeah, and see the people and experience the experiences.
I hope you enjoy your stay here in Copenhagen, and I hope that these information will help you during your stay. So have a nice stay in Copenhagen and have a nice vacation in Scandinavia.
Thank you.
Well, that was very nice of her to give us a nice little kind of a premiere of a tour as we came into the city. Actually, the lady who was talking was what we call the transfer agent, and that transfers us into town from the hotel.
Yeah, that's part of a tour. They always have somebody meet you like that and give you a little bit of an introduction as to what you're going to see, how much things cost, what the money exchange rate is.
It was good to know
orientation.
Those things, Yep. It sure is. And now we can take a look at, actually this is from the hotel window, just looking at some of the scenes here around the city.
Great views.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yes.
Yeah, and I did this again when the sun came up one morning too. I always like to do that.
Well, you're a nice early riser. I like to look at your pictures after you've taken them, but I don't
You don't want to get up that early, right?
No, sir.
Not even for breakfast?
Oh,
or for dinner?
But I'm talking about at dawn.
Oh, I see. Okay, well.
The dawn's early light. You can have the dawn's early light.
Okay.
Candy camera? Yep, candy camera. Like broccoli?
Yes, that's fine.
Yeah.
Well, we certainly had a nice dinner, and there was no shortage of food
I love
here
the
at
way
the
they
hotel
serve
restaurant.
it too, don't
Yeah,
you?
isn't that nice?
It is so nice. I'm not a real one for smorgasbord because I put too much on my plate, and then I'm like a garbage disposal.
Well, you can wait a little bit longer, and when we get up into Norway and to Sweden for the smorgasbords, I think But yeah, I know I like to be served like this.
I
think
do
it's
too.
nice.
Hey,
isn't
I
it?
have to. Yeah, I work on myself at home. It's nice to have somebody help
Else
me
do
out
it, right?
when I'm on vacation. I'm not really on vacation. I work.
Right, but anyway, it is nice to have that. Well, I'll tell you what, we are going to take a city tour in a little bit. Oh, there's your Dawn's Early Light, Betty.
Yeah.
You ready for it?
No, that's your Dawn's Early Light, not mine. But it is beautiful.
It is
now, see,
beautiful,
I
isn't
would
it?
like it. I could say, oh, that's the sunset.
Yeah, no, but it wasn't. There was a sun coming up. And now we're going to take a little city tour.
At the moment we have summer holidays, so you'll find that lots of Danes, they are on holiday at the moment. When we go abroad, we usually choose to go to either Spain or Greece, Turkey. It's also very popular, and then our neighbor countries, Sweden, Norway and Germany. Well, we have lots of tourists here as well, and we welcome you all, I can tell you. And to be frank, you mean something to our economy in Denmark as well. Tourism has now become the third largest income for our country. It's still so, though, that when we go abroad, we use more money abroad than you do here, but there you are. So, what you see here on the right side is our central station, and this year we're celebrating that it was 150 years ago that our railway systems were built here in Denmark. And by the cross light here, a little ahead of us, on the corner to the right, we have a very popular hard rock cafe, especially popular amongst the young people. And to the right side of that, we have the tourist information. And now we'll be driving past the main entrance for the Tivoli Gardens. And I always recommend our visitors from abroad to have a trip around the Tivoli Gardens. You have to pay an entrance to get in, but once you pay that entrance, there is a lot really to enjoy inside. There are many different types of amusements inside. If you want to try some of them, then you have to pay extra. But there are also, as I said, a lot to enjoy for free once you're inside. There are so many pretty flowers that change during the summertime. The Tivoli Gardens opens usually at the end of April and then until the end of September. And then they open at 11 a.m. and until midnight. On a Saturday, like today, they will be open till 2 o'clock in the evening, though, or 2 o'clock in the night. Many places, they play open-air music inside. There's also a very large stage where they have different type of performances, acrobats, maybe choir singing. I think tonight there will be a choir singing in there because we have a choir festival going on in Copenhagen at the moment. Well, this year, the Tivoli Gardens are 154 years old.
Did you notice when we came by there, the Hard Rock Cafe was right next door to Tivoli Gardens?
Yeah, how inappropriate. Marva, it really amazes me. I'm a cold person, and I like to be warm. But I see these people, I see the rain, and I know it's not really cold outside. But the way they're dressed is incredible. The shorts, no sweaters, no jackets.
Well, you wait for about an hour and the rain will be over with.
Yeah, I know, but
And
you're still wet.
Well, that just goes with the territory, I guess.
Maybe so. I would have to have a raincoat over me so I could take it off and be dry and cozy inside.
Well, it's that's one of the things that you find, and now who knows? I mean, with El Nino, what's going on?
I guess. Well, of course, that's with New York was that way. You would be walking down in New York, and all of a sudden stormy, and then fine.
Right.
On the left-hand side here, we have one of the old canals at the center of Copenhagen. It's also here on the left one of the places where you can enter the canal to a boat. Another nice way to see Copenhagen. That is, if the weather is not like this. But the street on the left here is called the Old Beach Street, because really where we're driving now, there there used to be water here. Well, it's about between 600 and 800 years ago. But the old beach was actually here on the left. We're just going to be driving a little around the old square here on the left. The statue that you can see from here, the green statue over there, is Bishop Absalon. And Bishop Absalon is the man who is said to have founded Copenhagen all the way back in 1167. We use that year even though we know that Copenhagen is a lot older. But as a historical fact, meaning it's been written down, Bishop Absalon here, he built a fortress in 1167. And I'll tell you a little more about that when we go inside the Christiansborg Palace in only about 10 minutes. The street that we have at the end of this square, ahead of us now, that is again the street which is called Strøget. It's a pedestrian-only street, and this is approximately the middle of it. As I mentioned, it's about a mile long, and it's a very popular place, not just for the Copenhageners, but also for many foreigners to come. And it's also a good place if you want to buy some Danish design, some good quality stuff. In the white building behind the fountain here, where it says George Jensen, that is where you will be able to buy silverware made by George Jensen factory. One of the things that we're famous of. And next to that, the old Renaissance red building, that's the sales rooms of the Royal Copenhagen factory. Another very good thing to buy if you want to get some good quality Danish stuff. That is porcelain made at the Royal Copenhagen factory. But we are on our way to the Christiansborg Palace. I'm not sure you can all see it now, those of you sitting a little back in the back of the bus, but the Christiansborg Palace is the large building that we have in front of the bus now. And maybe you'll be able to get a little glimpse here to the right of the only fishmonger that we have left in Copenhagen. But along the canal here and the old beach road, there used to be lots and lots of fishmongers. To the right also we have a very large yellow building next to this white one a little ahead of us here. The yellow building is also a museum, and there is a free entrance every day. It is the Thorvaldsens Museum, and I'll tell a little more about Thorvaldsen, who was a Danish sculptor, when we go inside the Christiansborg Palace.
You know, looking at these canals, have you ever taken a ride on one of those boats through canals in Northern Europe at all?
I was in Amsterdam, and I did the canal in Amsterdam. Yep, I did.
Yeah,
I had my picture taken from they stand up on top of the bridge, and it's wonderful. Then they run like crazy, and when you get at the end of the trip, they hand you your picture. Well, they don't hand it to you. They ask you for the money to pay for it.
Right.
But a great souvenir.
Yeah, oh, yeah. No, that's very nice. Well, this beautiful palace that we're going into now, those doors are, this is a great, big, huge building. And I was quite surprised, but because when we got inside, you didn't take your shoes off, but you put some little slipper things over your shoes to keep the floors in good condition.
Don't you wish sometimes you could do that at home when you have your rugs just cleaned or something and it's muddy outside and think, here, would you mind putting these on? You wouldn't dare do that.
Take your shoes off, yeah. No, just take them off. Anyway, you can see here that this is all set up for this, and I'm sorry that we can't show you much more of this particular palace because you get to a certain point and they say, sorry, no more photographs from this point on, and so that was the case here as well. But I thought these beautiful columns that we saw here, really something. And look at the sculptures of the people holding up the ceiling that way. It really was gorgeous.
I don't understand. Now, she said this burned down and it's been rebuilt. How do bricks burn?
Well, I think what happens when that happened in England with one of the palaces there. Yeah, it's not that the bricks burn. Is that usually what happens is that the ceiling will catch on. No, ceiling will catch on fire, and then the contents inside will start to burn. The walls will still remain.
The walls always are there, huh?
Yeah, and in a lot of these buildings, you had a lot of woods and inlaid woods, paneling that were there, and of course a lot of curtains and that type of thing as well. So it's possible. I remember when we were in England,
lots of
we
fires
saw we saw the damage there. But she wants to take us out here and show us something a little special. So let's take a look.
Beautiful Rococo palace, and that burnt down 200 years ago. But a few of the Rococo buildings, they did not burn down, and we still have them today. They are the two wings that you can see on each side of this square here. So that is what we have left of the first Christiansborg Rococo Palace. It's just been renovated last year, and it looks very beautiful now. And to many architects throughout Europe, this is something which is very, very special and quite beautiful. We have over here the Queen's stables today. Some of her horse-drawn carriages are over there. And also we have a very old theatre museum over here in this wing.
Well, see, Betty, you just wait long enough. Like we said, the rain stops, and the clouds will probably blow away in just a few more minutes.
And as we turn left here, again, please look to the right. The spire is made of copper. And the spire is 4 dragons' tails entwined. It's from the beginning of the 17th century, and so is this red building we're passing on the right now. This is our naval church, and I think probably there has been a wedding today. You can see lots of people and limousine here. Yes, we have a wedding here on the right. But this is also the church which is sometimes used by the royal family in Denmark, and this is also where our present queen was married in 1967. She married a former French count. His name is Henri de Montpezat. When you marry a Danish queen, then you become a prince. And we also Danished his name a little, so we call him Henrik. But they have 2 children, and so I think Frederick X. But he's 29 years old at the moment, and he's still single. Along a very old canal, and the street on the right hand side here is called the New Harbour Street, but it's not very new, well, not anymore, because the canal here was dug out in 1670. And if you look to the left now, we're passing a red house here. There is a little tablet on the wall of this house, and it says that is where Hans Christian Andersen lived when his very first novel was published. But he lived altogether 3 different places in this street. He very much loved the atmosphere of this place. It used to be, I suppose you could say, sort of a little like a red light district of Copenhagen. There were lots of sailors from all over the world who met in this place, and it was very lively. But today it's a very fashionable area. There are lots of nice restaurants and cafes here. You can see many people enjoy having a drink or a meal. But most of the old houses that you can see across the canal from here, they date back to the end of the 1600s and beginning of 1700s. And these houses here will be some of the houses that are protected by law.
Well, we've just started our adventure in Scandinavia, and we have a lot more to see, and which we'll be doing in future weeks. But if you're interested in any of the trips that we have coming up, give Betty a call at
488-7443.
That's all the time we have. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.